film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis from a basement on South Broadway. The Indie Film Sucks podcast. Because indie film, here we are.
Here we are. Indie film's doing well. It's doing well. It's a new year. It's a new season.
Yeah. It's doing well for somebody.
Exactly. Hey, look who's back at the table.
Oh, Brock Roberts.
Back off assignment. How you doing, Brock?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking.
Hey.
I am back off assignment. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Had a pretty busy assignment.
What was that about, buddy?
So I was trying to get our film into some theaters for some four-walling.
Explain that. What's that four-walling mean?
Four-walling means getting it into theaters.
Okay.
Well,
Not online.
it means doing it yourself. It means taking it from theater to theater.
Brick and mortar?
Yeah, as opposed to having your distributor, do that.
I was going to ask you the other day when I heard you say that term.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just kept using it. And I just went, yeah, exactly, four-walling it. I had no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's when you load up the van with all your shit and you go to every theater with hard drive in hand or whatever. You're doing it one at a time or a couple at a time.
Yeah, so I wasn't necessarily doing that exactly.
Right.
I was making lots of phone calls, lots of text messages, talking to radio personalities, getting it on the radio for the run for being in the theaters. So we got pretty lucky, actually.
Not lucky, or I didn't say luck. It's not luck. You
I'm not a big fan of luck either.
No, you do a pretty good job. The movie stands for itself. So, do you guys want to dive into that a little bit and talk about like theatrical release and how you do it independently? How you
why not?
Or right?
This is the first time we've ever had a theatrical release. This was a 2-week run that we've had with Red Knighted Skies in 2 theaters.
Gotcha.
So that's a theatrical run, if you will. Screening at the local theater for a one night only show is not a theatrical release.
So it's a good fun time, but it's not a release.
Right. It's been in theaters once, but now we've been in a theater for a long period of time. That's the release part of it. And I saw that IMDb picked it up as the official release.
Yes.
Is that true?
But yeah, so we were able to get into Grade 8 Cinema in Union, Missouri, and Sullivan 6 in Sullivan, Missouri, for a 2-week run of Red Knight.
Nice.
And I'm here to tell you, we went down there and these were sold out, packed every seat filled shows.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, in my dream, that's what it was. In reality.
Well, in reality, the first week that it was open, the first Friday night, it was 8 degrees outside in the negatives with wind chills.
So you take a step back from that reality. So you went and talked to somebody because it was shot in St. Clair, Missouri, Washington, that whole area,
Franklin
right?
County.
Yeah, exactly. So there was some interest in that from contacts or knowing some folks in that area, correct?
Yes, that's right. So I got connected with the local theater owners, and it's kind of nuts. I didn't think they'd go for it, but they were really supportive because I knew it was shot around here. There's a lot of local talent. Or in a lot of local establishments that we'd used for shooting it. So a lot of people around Franklin County wanted to see the movie. So we got it in there, and it turned out pretty well.
No, I think that's awesome. I guess I was going to go more into so you went down there and asked, and then the timing of it came quick. They were like, hey, can you get us something? We got 3 weeks right? So there wasn't a ton of prep for us because I don't know that we would have wanted to do it in the middle of winter on these ice days in January.
Probably not, but, we threw it out there and they immediately said, yeah, let's do this. We're like, oh, wow, okay. So we don't really have anything ready.
We had a week.
Right. That was my point is, as independents.
Yeah, I was thinking,
a
couple months down the road when we can squeeze our movie in between whatever. And the guy's like, yeah, I think you good for next weekend?
What are we going to say, no?
Yeah, of course.
Immediately, I get a hold of Greg. I'd say, hey.
Call Jeff. Call whoever.
We need to get a hold of our editor and get these, hard drives to these theaters.
Well, we had to make a DCP, a digital cinema package.
Okay.
That's what the theater requested.
Right.
And it's just a big fat file is all it is, and it's just a type of file. What we used for the premiere was a high quality MPEG 4, and I couldn't really tell a difference between either one. I think the DCP played a little smoother than the MPEG 4 did, and again, that was very, very minute bit of stuttering.
I didn't see any stuttering at all.
I'm talking about the premiere.
Oh, right.
Most people that I talked to said, "What are you talking about stuttering?"
Right.
But all the filmmakers like, "Oh yeah, I saw that." I'm like,
No,
yeah.
but I was looking for it in the run when I went to see it, and now that I know what I was looking for,
Yeah.
I could go back now, and at the premiere, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and
So, but that's the advantage of me seeing it multiple times in multiple theaters now.
Yeah, no, it
most people
it looked
aren't.
good.
Yeah. The only thing I was like, it didn't fit the screen.
I've seen big movies the same
Not fill
way.
the screen on a.
Yeah.
Okay, I will look for that every time now just to see, because no, that's the only one thing I noticed is when all the trailers were up for all the big movie house movies, it all filled the screen, and then ours got up there and it was just cut off a little bit on the sides. Not cut off, it was
Right.
full. The full movie was up there, but didn't fill that screen. So I didn't know if we have to know the screen size before you go in, and you have to format to
Shouldn't
that,
have to.
or projection. I just didn't know. I thought it would automatically fill the screen. That's things, if you expect it to be one way when you go into a theater and you see it a different way, it makes it different, even for an audience member.
Well, every projection, every projector is going to look a little bit different.
Okay.
I mean, all these whatever film festivals we get in, they're all going to look a little bit different.
From an independent film. But if you go to like Warner Brothers sends something out, it's all going to look pretty much the same. Do they all use the same thing?
No, everybody doesn't use the same universal projector across the board. So different theaters, different screenings, everything's going to look a little bit different.
Okay.
I don't know. We don't
What-
make big budget movies.
No, but based off of what people might want to know when they go to see something, as opposed in a theater, when we get a run at a theatrical thing and they walk in and they look at the picture and they just go, like, if the sound's off, right?
Sure.
It's just something different that they're not used to seeing when they go see films.
Well, I mean, I thought with the sides being cut off, I didn't really pay attention to that. I just wanted to make sure it looked good, it sounded good. It did.
Yep.
Got good response from the audience members the times I went. Even though it wasn't a packed house every night or whatever, it ran 3 times a day for 2 weeks. We still outsold the other movies that were in the theaters. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no. Good showing for us.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And Chris, Greg, and we did a little PR beforehand. I mean, we had to really rush that as well.
We did.
And we got on a couple radio stations and spoke about Red Night. And
Another thing we did not have were marquee-size posters. Because marquee-size posters are bigger than your standard 24 by 36. And we just didn't have time to get them printed.
right, like I said, they wanted the movie, like, they said okay on like a Wednesday, and they wanted everything by Monday before the Friday.
Yeah.
And so we really did a rush job on it. And thank you guys for getting on that and getting that taken care of so we could have a successful show. And
Again, independent filmmakers, if you're going to a actual theater, there's marquee size posters and there's other posters, right? Office Depot makes only so big, 24 by 36.
Yeah.
And a marquee's a little bit bigger than that.
It is.
So something you could be prepared for if you're going through a theatrical release is having that already pre-made.
Yeah, it's like 77 by 44 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
I mean, it's bigger,
Right.
significantly bigger.
So when things happen quick, we didn't think about that. It's like there may not be enough time to have it made. So that didn't bother me though, as far as that. I thought they looked nice in the thing all lit up. So
yeah, so with the success, and I think it's a pretty successful run we had there, we are looking into doing more of this, which I'm excited about, reaching out to other chains, and we're basically going towards independent chains, not the great big ones from what we've talked about anyway. Unless, AMC wants to pick up a run and put us in 3,000 theaters,
I don't know if we can afford it.
Probably not, because that's the other thing is we have to send each theater a copy of the film on a drive, and that's money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to do this. Just the materials you have to provide. And if you're not set up, because we did not expect a theatrical run. This was something that kind of fell in our laps. You know, we were pretty much expecting straight to video, straight to streaming. But, you know, if the opportunity presents itself, hey, you can do a theatrical run for a couple weeks in a couple theaters, you'd be foolish not to take it.
Yeah, and well, you say it just kind of found a lap, which it did. Well, we reached out to them, and they said okay. So it didn't quite really fall in our lap. We had to work for it a little bit. I got connected to the ownership of the theater chain.
But it wasn't an original consideration.
Right.
It's not something we were thinking about. It's nothing that I've ever thought about. I always thought everything I've made, it's going straight to video.
Right, you'll have the premiere, and then right, that's the only time it'll be shown in the theater, and then it'll go either DVD or Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah, DVD's dead now, so...
It is dead. I had another guy turn me down today, my cousin. He goes, hey, I'd love to buy this. I don't have a DVD player. Is it digital? I'm like, not yet.
Which I think is a terrible mistake, because so many things come on streaming and then go away, and then you can't watch it. I mean, I have tons of physical media because I love physical media. I love all the extra stuff that comes with it. I just bought the 30th anniversary of Labyrinth with extras and stuff.
So going back to the run we had, which was kind of local for me, there were a lot of people I knew that went to see this. I couldn't make it to the premiere or whatever, because the premiere was a lot further away, and a lot of people I didn't know reached out to me, even talking about their kids wanted to be in the movies or be a director, and they got to see your movie and they thought it was really cool, and that I inspired them a little bit. And I messaged back to this one person who said those exact words. I said, that inspires me to want to do more, and inspiring other people to grow and do cool things like what we got to do. Because not everybody, hardly anybody gets to make a movie, right? And then show it to a community.
That's true.
In a theater. Hardly anybody gets to do that. And we got to do that. And it was pretty special, and it inspired people. And I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, I don't think there's many people from St. Clair Union, that area, doing it.
Even from St. Louis, Chicago, nowhere, not too many independent filmmakers get their movie for a theater run, ever. I mean,
on the flip side of that, because, they always say don't read the comments. I read the comments on various things. There are a lot of people that think that they can make a movie no sweat. Oh, if these people did it, I could do this, no problem. Guess what? You probably can't. It's extremely difficult to do this shit. It's not as easy as it looks. And there's so many people, the first time they come on a film set, they have no idea that films are shot completely out of sequence.
Yeah,
you experienced that with your buddy Rich, who played a bartender in Red Knight.
I experienced that in Rhineland. In Rhineland, you're like, hey, we're going to go here. And I'm just like, my character had no development or anything. And you're just like, yeah, well, here's how it is. Didn't you read the script?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you just gave me the part yesterday. How am I supposed to? But no, I was very shocked that the movie was not shot in sequence. Coming from theater, it's so different because you build that up. So you got to be ready to go for that scene for that day. Hopefully there's some prep time and you get the information, but again, it's independent film, and you may have a BA one day, and you might be the star the next day. Who knows?
So, what are your thoughts on the theatrical run?
No, I knew we were maybe going to pursue where Brock lived and asked that, but the fact that they said yes wasn't surprising, but it's generous, and it was very interesting that they did say that, and then when they asked us, hey, can we do it for a second week? To get that, I thought that was very kind of them, but it spoke to the movie, how good the movie is, right?
Of course.
Because they were obviously making a profit off it because they're in business. Mm-hmm. So that got me to thinking, going, yes, we always talk about distribution and do you sign your rights away for theatrical or worldwide or this? And then we talked about sales agents, right? And then we talked about how do you do it yourself, Film Hub. But we really didn't talk about a theatrical release like you mentioned earlier, Brock. I got to thinking going, it could be possible for us to reach out to other independent film houses. And I started doing some research on it, and there's a lot. There's a lot of people that own 2, 3, 5, 55 theaters that aren't your AMCs, your Marcuses, the big theater houses that show first-run movies that aren't really necessarily interested in independent film out there. And I thought it was something going, A, what's the cost, right? Is it cost prohibitive for us to do it? And second, I was like, you know what? This isn't a bad marketing strategy for us or an idea to get our movie out there. So with this you getting this and seeing how many people came to it in a local setting, it got me thinking about going, there's some phone calls we probably need to make and build out a strategy for talking to some other
So I
independent.
reached out to another theater,
Yeah.
and it was a little bit different. It wasn't a multiplex like these theaters that we had a run in. It was just a single screen, so it's hard to get into single screen theaters. And they would love us to have the movie in there, but they wanted us to pay them
Yeah.
for just like a one-time thing, and that's just they didn't quite understand what we wanted.
Yeah, but I think on those single stream, right, screens, it's one night you're taking away from something else. So they have to guarantee the profit that they're going to make from it. And I think somebody mentioned even yesterday when we were in a conversation with somebody going, hey, did you look at this theater? And I'm like, well, there's only one screen there. How many nights are they going to give us for an independent film?
Yeah, I get it.
Right? It'd be tough to do a week.
Yeah, so you need to look at multiplex.
Exactly. Yeah, and this website had it all laid out. My point is I never considered that. Yes, was it always kind of in the back of my head if we can get a sales agent to help us do it? But I see now a pathway for us to possibly just do that ourselves.
Yeah, I didn't consider it either until we had this run, because I did not think we would get a run, right? Just because I've been doing this for so long and I've never pursued that, because it was never really a realistic option.
They always tell you it's impossible.
Yeah.
Who's telling you that?
Other filmmakers and the public, just because it almost is impossible, to be honest. It's really difficult because you do have these blockbuster movies all the time. Every week it seems like there's a new one coming out, and it takes up the space. And those movies are going to be watched because they have so much marketing behind them. It's just they're driven to this one movie. And so it is very difficult. That's why most independents don't do it that way.
I don't know. I've never talked to an independent guy that said I sent it off to 50 theaters and I got rejected. I'm sure they're out there doing that. I would love to be able, if that's our marketing strategy, I would love to make those phone calls and see if that's something we could do. Now, there's a financial side to it, because we just mentioned, hey, everybody's going to want 4 or 5 posters, right, for their marquees. Those are $50 each. Everybody's going to want to drive, right? If you get in 50, I've even seen 55 theaters, that's a lot.
Sure,
I can't
that is
see
a
it.
lot.
Right, but in 8 theaters, something local, something small, multiplex, they're both going to want to drive. Would you say there's $100 each?
Roughly, yeah.
There's a financial side to all that side that goes, yes, hey, Mr. Mackey, I can get you in 55 theaters, blah, blah, blah. I don't have $5,500 plus another $2,500, $10,000 just to get a theatrical run.
No.
Where I may or may not get a 50-50 split on a movie nobody's ever heard before, that they may say yes, but it might not be financially feasible to it. I'm just saying I got thinking differently about it.
We have to do some more research on how much the breakdown to what it'd take to get to one theater.
Yeah, I mean, you can just generate and go. It's pretty easy math, in my opinion.
Yeah, pretty much $200 to a drive and 2 posters.
Yeah, if that's the basic minimum for them to get into it, $200 a theater, you gotta, we don't think about that side because you think you're selling your commodity, but there's a lot of costs that go into any kind of run or theatrical production.
Well, even with our screening, our premiere, if you will, at the High Point Theater, which was a single screen kind of movie palace kind of theater, we still had to make a minimum ticket sales requirement. So they didn't charge us, but they said you have to make this minimum ticket sales in order for us to do the ticket split. And we did make the minimum. And I think, another small theater would, like you were talking about, would be kind of the same thing. It's like, we pay them money, or we have minimum ticket sales we have to hit. And it'd be easier to just pay them money than it would be to guarantee the minimum ticket sales.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that either. Because you're right. High Point was said, hey, we get the first 50 or whatever it ended up being. So, but it'd be interesting for us to pursue it, because I never considered it in something where these people probably are reachable. These people are probably somebody you can reach out to.
Well, we're trying right now.
Well, I know you are, and I appreciate that, and I think you got the right contact names, and you have some other people I saw kind of helping you, at least say, hey, this is kind of where you go. But so I think that's great. But it started from when you got the contact at the one theater owner who knows another theater owner. And then it kind of branches out from there. So it'd be interesting if...
Yeah, so basically what I did is I went on Facebook and reached out in a couple of different groups. Hey, do you know who owns such theater? You got to put yourself out there and ask, And this is this is a movie we're all proud of, and we know, if we can get to the public, it will have legs because it's a well done movie. It's not the Blair Witch like we always talk about. It's just it's a really well done movie, but we can get behind it 100%. So when you're behind something 100%, you should just make the call. You shouldn't have any fear to push it at all.
Well, this is a classic case of nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, certainly if you've been doing this for a long time, making independent film for a number of years, the name of the podcast is Indie Film Sucks for a reason, because a lot of aspects of this whole process that we go through really, really suck.
Especially the rejection.
Yeah, there's a lot of rejection, so it's easy to automatically assume, oh, this is not going to work. Right, and it's good when things like this happen. Like, well, you know what? If I don't ask, I'll never get a response either way. You ask and you might get a no, but you might get a yes sometimes. And of course, all this is within reason, right? If you have a $10,000 to $100,000 movie that is I'm serious.
No, I'm with you. Yeah,
that is not incredibly groundbreaking and doesn't meet certain requirements, you're not going to get in Sundance, right? Now you can go ahead and shoot your shot, but if you've made just kind of what we've made is a action horror film that has one known commodity, meaning Bill Moseley in it, and it's very well produced, but it's not reinventing the wheel. It's like there's no point in sending it to one of those big festivals because it doesn't have the pedigree that they would require. So I'm not talking about that, but something like a theatrical run, which if you would have asked me beforehand, I would have said, yeah, no, we're never going to get in anything. Don't even waste your time. And I would have been wrong. I would have been absolutely wrong. And there are many things that you get so used to the rejection, you get so used to hearing the no that you don't even bother to ask anymore. And that's kind of a mistake.
It just opened my eyes to think, is there a pathway for us there? Now, you got to think of financially, can we afford it? Are they interested in it, right? And we're not going to AMC and some of these big guys because they're not. We get it. We get that what they're in it for the profitability side of things. But some of these smaller houses, maybe they can't afford to bring the big movies in. And maybe there's that 7th theater, that 8th theater where they got an opening. And I think it's a timing of when do the big blockbusters come out? Yeah, because that's a season too, right? There's an ebb and flow to that.
That played into our run a bit too. To be honest, this time of year it's kind of slow. No real big blockbusters to go. I mean, this is something that had been out for a while and are still running, but it seemed like there was nothing major coming in. Like if we went up against a great big Disney film, it'd been pretty damn tough. So it is very. The timing is definitely important.
Yeah. I mean, you got Oscars coming out, so that's going to be a big thing after March. And then you got summer season coming out where a lot of movies are released. But let's face it, the movie industry, Hollywood, is not what it used to be either.
You have to realize, as an independent, your competition is not Hollywood. Your competition is not the big blockbuster. Your competition is not the big tentpole film because you can't win. You can't win that fight.
It's the millions of other independent films.
From a streaming side of things, from a different from where our movie will be marketable and play. Mm-hmm. This whole theater thing was just something that kind of approached itself, and I just started diving into it a little bit more and say, is there something else here that we can pursue to get the no's or get a yes, get another yes? Because if you can bring in an extra, which isn't unreasonable, an extra $10,000 to start paying your investors back that you didn't plan on, that's a pretty good deal.
It is.
Or a couple $100 just to pay the bills, to move on to something else, to pay for postage or something else just to keep your company limping along. That's a good deal.
You know what else is a good deal?
What's that, Chris?
When we talk about the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of true independent filmmaking on the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Brought to you by 88mm Productions.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. It's on the places that people listen and watch podcasts, I guess. Good night.
Indie Film Sucks. Indie Film Sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.